Thank you all so much for joining us here today for everything you need to know before you register for summer 2024. Please note that this webinar is for college and professional students only. This webinar is not for our pre-college or secondary school students. More detailed information will be emailed to you regarding registration if you're accepted into one of these high school programs. Before we get started, we have a few housekeeping items for you. A recording of this webinar will be sent to the email you used to register. The recording will also be accessible on the event webpage and our YouTube channel within a week. Please utilize the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen to ask your questions. Members of our Harvard Summer School team will work diligently to answer these questions. And if we don't get to your question, we will provide contact information for follow-up at the end of this presentation. Lastly, we will not use the raise hand feature during this session, just the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Today, we will first hear from Dean Sandra Naddaff. Then we'll review the 2024 summer registration steps and watch a live demo with members of our enrollment services team. To conclude, we'll review post-registration tasks such as financing, housing, and our course website, Canvas. Understanding these tasks will help you to set you up for success this summer. We have an exceptional group of panelists here today to prepare you for summer registration. It is now my pleasure to welcome our first speaker, Dean Sandra Naddaff, Dean of Harvard Summer School. Welcome, Sandra.
Thanks so much, Jacqueline. It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning from Cambridge, everyone. I think we are welcoming guests from all over the world today. It's a beautiful late winter day here in Cambridge. You can almost smell spring in the air, which means that summer is not far behind. I'm so pleased that you're with us today. I am Sandra Naddaff, the Dean of the Harvard Summer School, and on behalf of the entire Division of Continuing Education, it is a real pleasure to welcome you to this webinar where you will learn everything you ever wanted to know about how to register for a course in the Harvard Summer School. There are lots of very good reasons to take a course with us this summer. For those of you who are pursuing or considering a degree or a certificate in the Extension School, it's a great time to jumpstart or maintain your progress toward completion. For college students, summer offers you the opportunity to experience a different university landscape, to take courses that you might not have time to take during regular term time because they're too onerous for you. I always think of organic chemistry when I mention this, or to take a course that you might not have room for during the regular term time. For working professional adults, this is a great moment for you to take a professional course in a field that would have direct applicability to the work that you do every day and to help you advance your career goals. And for some of you, this is my favorite reason to take a course in summer. Summer is just a great time to take a course for the sheer love of learning. We offer a full and diverse curriculum in the Harvard Summer School, which we model on the Harvard Faculty of Arts and Science liberal arts curriculum. We also offer courses in professional fields like management, sustainability, museum studies, to name just a few. Our courses are taught by Harvard faculty, by distinguished faculty from other universities and institutions, and by industry experts who are committed to offering rigorous and inclusive academic experiences in the classroom. Various session lengths are available, but it's important to remember that all sessions during the summer are intensive. We do a lot and you learn a lot in a short amount of time. Our full session runs for 7 weeks, but we also have 2 3-week sessions, which is where the majority of our professional courses are offered. And this year, for the first time, we're running a 4-week session with a curriculum of small group courses on campus only, primarily in the liberal arts, but they will have a few professional courses mixed in. These courses are limited enrollment, and this summer they are available, unfortunately, only to domestic students. I would encourage you to register for these courses as quickly as possible since they are limited. And like many of our 7-week courses, these courses welcome high school, college, and adult students. Courses in all of our sessions are offered in various formats and modalities on campus, online, synchronous and asynchronous. There are all kinds of combinations. You can live on campus if you wish, but remember that you have to register and request housing if you wish to do so. You can commute to campus. You can be part of our vast online community. One of the things we pride ourselves on in the summer school and in DCE at large is our vast global network of students. And one of the many real advantages of being part of the summer school and DCE is the opportunity to interact and connect with fellow students who bring a wide diversity of perspectives and experiences to our classrooms, whether in person or online. To all of these students, whether online, on campus, or otherwise, Harvard resources and facilities, our student support services, our libraries, our museums, and much more are available. My favorite thing to do when I participate in one of these webinars is to highlight a few of our courses, because this to me is our reason for being. So let me close by mentioning just a few of our offerings this summer. Consider taking a computer science course on data science and AI ethics, governance, and law, or an environmental science course on food systems and social justice, maybe an art history course on contemporary photography, war, and conflict, or write a novel in 3 weeks by enrolling in advanced fiction, writing the novel. There are 379 courses to choose from. Go deep in a field you know well, or go on an adventure and discover a new intellectual passion. Explore the full range of our courses and expand your horizons. I look forward to welcoming you all to the 153rd session of the Harvard Summer School, and I wish you a summer to remember. Thank you all again for joining us today. And now we'll hear from my good colleague, Sean Cleary, who is Associate Director of Enrollment Services and Student Outreach.
Thank you so much, Dean Nadaff. So my name is Sean Cleary, and as Dean Nadaff said, I oversee enrollment services and student outreach for the Division of Continuing Education. So I want to first start today by sharing who we serve here at Harvard Summer School. We serve Harvard Extension School students who take courses with us during the fall, spring, and January sessions. We also serve visiting college students. We have many students who come from universities globally to study at Harvard Summer School during the summer term. We also serve our undergraduate student population at Harvard College who are taking courses with us to transfer back to their degree program. And we also serve adult course takers. So many of our students who come are not only taking courses, but are balancing full or part-time workloads and other responsibilities on top of their coursework here at Harvard Summer School. We also serve high school students through our 2-week pre-college program and our 7-week and 4-week secondary school program. As Jacqueline mentioned at the start of the webinar, today we are only focused on the first 4 populations that you see highlighted here. Our high school students receive a lot of detailed information and guidance from the programs that they've been admitted to. So if you are a high school student viewing today's webinar, we would ask you at this time to log off, as this webinar is mainly intended for our extension school students, visiting college students, Harvard College students, and adult course takers. So we have a couple of important dates we'd like to highlight for the summer 2024 registration cycle. Today, we actually started pre-registration and carts, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, but these are going to be some of the initial steps you'll be taking to get ready for registration when it opens on March 4th. Registration will open at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on this date, so definitely mark your calendars, especially if you have your eye on some of our new 4-week classes. As Dean Nadaff said, those are going to fill up quickly, so you'll definitely want to be ready when registration starts on March 4th. May 13th is our full payment deadline for all of our summer sessions. So no matter if you're taking courses in the 7-week, 3-week, or 4-week term, May 13th is that day that you're going to want to make sure is in your calendar. And finally, June 20th is our course registration deadline for all summer sessions. So definitely make sure that you have all the courses that you would like to take this summer registered for, as there will not be an opportunity to start a new registration after this date passes. We'd like to provide you with the registration checklist. We hope this is helpful if you'd like to screenshot it now, or if you're watching the recording of the webinar in the future, something that you can come back to make sure that you're taking care of every step that you need to complete in the registration cycle. So before registration starts on March 4th, there are 4 items that you can go ahead and knock out from the beginning. So you can go ahead and create your My DCE account. That is going to be your student account for Harvard Summer School. It's going to be where you do everything, including course registration, paying your tuition bill, accomplishing any tasks that are assigned to you, and also accessing Canvas, which houses all of your course websites and materials. The second thing you can do is complete pre-registration. So after you've completed your My DCE account setup, you'll see a link to pre-registration on the homepage of the student account. Pre-registration is a little bit different from registering for courses. It's actually just the process of making sure that we have all of your most up-to-date contact and student information in our database before you start the registration process. So pre-registration is available now, and you will need to complete it before you're able to register for classes starting on March 4th. The third thing you can do is navigating the course search. I'm actually going to take you through the entire course search and registration process shortly, so you'll get a good sense of what navigating the course search looks like. But I definitely encourage you after today's webinar to take some time to just play around in that website and see how our courses are listed, how everything's laid out, and all the different search options that you're going to see available in that system. And the fourth is going to be meeting enrollment requirements. My colleague Lauren and I are going to talk a little bit more about this shortly, but there are a couple of things that you need to accomplish that may prevent you from registering for certain courses if they're not done by a certain time. Starting on March 4th, when registration opens, you'll want to complete your registration. The summer registration cycle is one of our longest registration cycles of the year. It starts March 4th and ends June 20th. So there's a little over 3 months to get registered for your classes. But I would always encourage you to do your registration as soon as possible, just to ensure that you have time to complete all of the steps that are remaining afterwards. Once you complete registration for your course, you'll want to pay in full by May 13th, which is the full payment deadline. If you happen to register for courses between May 14th, after the payment deadline, and June 20th, which is our course registration deadline, you'll need to make an immediate payment for your course after you've registered for it during that time. Once you've registered, you can claim your Harvard key, which is going to be your main login for all of the Harvard systems. You'll receive a detailed email with instructions about how to claim your Harvard key. Usually you can do this about 24 to 48 hours after you've registered for your classes. And then once you've claimed your Harvard key, you will actually be using that to access Canvas, which is for your course websites. You'll access the housing application with it if you'd like to live on campus. And you'll also use it to log into your My DCE student account and other resources like our libraries that we offer online. So now we're going to take you through the steps on how to create your My DCE student account. So we have a short video that's going to walk you through how to get started with this. My DCE is your student account for Harvard Summer School and Harvard Extension School. To get started with your account creation, navigate over to the Harvard Summer School homepage, summer.harvard.edu, and click on the My DCE login link at the top of the page. Then, once redirected to the My DCE page, click on the Log into the My DCE Student Portal button. This is the current look of our login page. You may notice a fresh new design in the future, but that won't change what we're showing you here today. You'll see the option to log into My DCE one of 2 ways, with your DCE key and with your Harvard key. So what's the difference between the two? You'll start by creating your DCE key first, which will allow you to access My DCE and complete course registration. For 24 to 48 hours after you completed registration, you'll receive an email with your Harvard University ID number and instructions on how to claim your Harvard key. Once claimed, your Harvard key can be used to log into My DCE, Canvas course websites, the Health Services Patient Portal for immunization uploads, and all library online resources. So all of that being said, let's start by clicking on the Create a DCE Key link to get your account created. Please key in an email address here that you have access to. The email address and password that you key in here will become your DCE Key login credentials. We recommend using your personal email address, as using a work email address may cause extension school emails to be blocked due to strong firewall settings. Complete the remaining fields and click Continue when finished. Following the instructions on your screen, please log into the email account that you noted on the form to verify your email address. After you clicked on the verification link, you'll be redirected to a confirmation screen. From here, click on the link to access My DCE with. Enter your DCE key login credentials here to get logged in. Once you log in for the first time, you'll be presented with a series of onboarding questions to complete. Once completed, you'll land here on the homepage of your My DCE account. Take some time to get familiar with this page prior to registration starting. It will be your go-to source for everything during your time as a student with us, including completing course pre-registration, which will be available for all students to access here on your homepage starting on Thursday, October 19th, completing course registration, making payments, accessing Canvas course websites, submitting transcript requests, and more. If you encounter any issues when creating your account, please contact Enrollment Services for assistance. Our contact information will be shared with you at the very end of today's webinar. All right, I would like to clarify one thing that you may have heard in the video. So we actually used part of this video for our fall webinar on registration. So you may have heard me mention October 13th as our pre-registration date. Definitely ignore that. As I mentioned at the start of the webinar, pre-registration for the summer term is currently open now. So definitely once you get your My DCE account created, you can go ahead and head in and complete pre-registration at any time. I'm now going to invite my colleague, Lauren, to join me in covering some of our enrollment requirements. These are items that you'll definitely want to keep in mind that may pertain to certain students, maybe not all, but we want you to definitely be aware as you head into the registration cycle. So Lauren, turning it over to you.
Thank you, Sean. So now that we've created your MyDC account, let's go over some of these enrollment requirements that you have to meet before registering for a course. This first one here, English proficiency, is something that will prevent you from registering for courses. So when you create your MyDC account, you'll be asked to fill out your student information. If you indicate any language besides English as your native language, you will be required to meet English proficiency. Now, we define native language as the first language you learn to understand, speak, read, and write. So this may not necessarily be your best language or your most used language. We define native language as your first language. So you can meet English proficiency in one of two ways. The first one that you can try is with a transcript. If you've completed high school, university, or college whose language of instruction was primarily in English, you can submit that transcript for review. However, if you don't have such a transcript, you can take an English proficiency test instead. We review test scores for the IELTS, TOEFL, Pearson, or Duolingo. The deadline to complete this task is June 13th if you're not seeking an I-20. However, if you're an international student requesting an I-20 for F1 visa sponsorship, your deadline for this requirement is April 15th. Next is immunizations. Now, if you plan to be on campus whatsoever, whether it be to visit our fantastic Harvard libraries or to take an on-campus course, you'll need to be up to date with your immunizations, especially the COVID-19 shot. For more details, my colleague will be dropping the link to the exact immunizations required in the chat. Please note that our COVID-19 policy is not yet set in stone, so we recommend that you check this website frequently for updates between now and the first day of classes. And now I'll hand it back over to Sean.
All right, thank you, Lauren. So our last enrollment requirement to cover is the test of critical reading and writing skills, or as we call it here in our office, the CRUISE test. The CRUISE test is not required for every course. It tends to just be required in order to register for our more writing-intensive courses. So you might notice that a lot of our degree programs have a pro seminar course, which is very heavy with the writing component, and that test will require a passing score on the CRUISE test before you can register for it. So all of that is to say, definitely check out information on the CRUISE test online to see if the course that you're interested in does require the test. And if it does require the test, make sure to go ahead and take it as soon as possible. You actually do not get your score immediately after taking the cruise test. It can take our graders anywhere from like 1 to 2 weeks to get your score back to you. So making sure that you take it early so you can get your score back and plenty of time to get registered for your desired course. The final deadline to take the cruise test for the summer term will be June 6th of this year. And also, I do want to call out that you will also need to have submitted proof of English proficiency and had that approved if English isn't your native language in order to take the cruise test. So another reason why getting that EP documentation in very quickly is super important. We'll now move on to some of our important enrollment policies. So the first one is our minimum age policy. If you are a high school student interested in taking classes through Harvard Summer School, you will need to apply and be admitted into our pre-college or secondary school program. That is the only way for students who are in the age range of 16, 17, 18 to take courses with us during the summer term. For all of our Harvard College students and adult students who are coming to Harvard Summer School, it's really ages 18 plus to register for courses. That will allow you to register for undergraduate credit and graduate credit. It's really just the high school students that have a slightly different procedure in order to take courses with us. But if you're an adult student, all of our courses are open enrollment for the summer term. There are also maximum enrollment limits and policies in place. If you are looking to take a course during the 7-week session, you are permitted to take up to 8 credits, which tends to be a total of 2 courses. If you're looking to take a 3-week session, you can take a maximum of 1 course during each of those sessions. And if you're looking to take a 4-week course, you can take a maximum of 1 course during that session. There's also some overlapping you should be aware of. If you are taking a 7-week course, you're not able to overlap with any other terms. So you would not be able to take a 3-week course or a 4-week course paired with a 7-week course. The 7-week would be the only option. If you're looking to take a 3-week course, you could pair a 3-week 1 course with a 3-week 2 course, or you could pair a 3-week 1 course with a 4-week course. So there are some of those different exceptions in place. Usually our course registration system will flag you if you have overlapping terms and won't allow you to register in those cases. But if you ever run into anything or need clarification, you can always reach out to us in enrollment services and we can take a look at the classes you're interested in and see if some of that overlapping is occurring, which might be preventing you from registering. Another thing that our registration system will flag you of is if you have any time conflicts in place. So this could be courses that you're looking to take that actually are overlapping with each other in terms of their meeting times. So you'll be alerted to that and you'll be able to adjust your schedule to make sure that you're registering for courses that you'll be able to attend at the correct times. And then lastly, we have transfer credits, which is something that we get a lot of questions about. Our summer school credits typically do transfer out to other schools, including Harvard, but we always encourage you to speak to your academic advisor or your registrar's office at your home institution, making sure that you share the course description and the syllabus with them so that they can determine if the course will transfer correctly from Harvard to your home institution. And now we're going to share another quick video that's going to go through some important information for our international students.
Hi, my name is Thomas Maldonado Brees, and I'm the Assistant Director of Enrollment Requirements at Harvard Summer School.
And I'm Lauren Huchendijkhoff. I'm the Enrollment Requirements Coordinator. If you're considering joining us on campus this summer, you've come to the right place. Thomas and I are here to guide you through the I-20 and F1 visa process so that you can join us in the classroom here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. You must obtain an I-20 from Harvard Summer School and apply for an F1 student visa at a U.S. embassy or consulate abroad.
Here, you can see an example of an I-20 document. An I-20 is primarily required for any F1 student visa application at a U.S. embassy or consulate abroad. For adult and college-age students, you must simply register full-time in academic courses, and we'll talk about that term full-time in a moment. For our Canadian students, your process will be different. While Canadian students do not need to apply for an F1 visa to participate in courses for academic credit, you are still required to obtain an I-20 from Harvard Summer School and enter the US on F immigration status to attend courses for academic credit.
Now that you know you'll need an I-20, let's dive into the application process itself. In general, you'll need to submit 1, the biographical page of your passport. If you're bringing your spouse or children with you, we'll need the biographical page of their passports too. 2, financial documents. Students attending Harvard Summer School are required to demonstrate funding for their stay in the United States to cover the cost of attendance for their program. The overall cost of attendance includes expenses like tuition, accommodations, and course materials like textbooks. 3, lastly, you'll need to be registered full-time for academic credit on-campus courses.
This last point is important. Full-time at Harvard Summer School means registering for 2 4-credit courses over a 7-week program, or 1 4-credit course in a 3-week program. Additionally, all courses must be in formats with the title on campus or online, or if you are a Harvard Extension degree candidate, the 4-credit capstone course during the 7-week session.
Exactly. Once we've received these 3 pieces of information, our staff, including the staff of the Harvard International Office, will review your documentation. Only once your registration is confirmed and documents have been accepted will you receive an I-20 via email from the Harvard International Office. Once you receive your I-20, you should check for its accuracy, print it out, sign it, and then you can book your F1 visa appointment at a U.S. embassy or consulate abroad.
It can take up to 4 weeks for your I-20 to be issued once you've taken all these steps. Because visa appointment wait times and visa processing times vary by country to country, it is important that you submit all documents early for your I-20. This will ensure that your visa can be issued to you in time for you to arrive in Cambridge for the start of your summer school session.
The best time to submit your biographical passport page and financial documents to us is about a week before registration begins. For all students, because your I-20 is tied to your registration status, we recommend registering in I-20 eligible courses as soon as registration opens, so we can issue your I-20 as soon as possible and increase your chances of a successful F1 visa application.
For more information about the I-20 and F1 student visa process, including what documents to bring with you when you enter the US and check-in procedures when you arrive to campus, visit our website.
And if you still have questions, you can always contact us at visas@summer.harvard.edu.
We look forward to seeing you in person and are thrilled to welcome you to summer school.
All right, so I'd like to invite my colleague Lauren back to go over some important deadlines for our international students now that you've learned a little bit more about our visas process.
Yes, exactly. Let's talk about these deadlines because it is essential for international students to meet the required deadlines in order to take a course with us on campus this summer. So the first deadline that is coming up is the registration deadline in I-20 eligible courses. This is on April 22nd. Now, to keep in mind with what is considered I-20 eligible, conditional registrations are not eligible for this purpose, meaning you must be fully registered in a course to meet this requirement. Also, please note that we cannot support visas for our 4-week course option this summer. We are only able to issue I-20s for F1 visa sponsorship for 3-week courses and 7-week courses. The next deadline is that you will be prompted to answer an I-20 questionnaire, and this must be submitted by April 25th. And then for submitting all of your I-20 documents, this deadline for this year is May 2nd. Please note that responses and documents submitted are considered final. So responses and documents that are completed incorrectly or with missing information are not eligible for correction during high volume processing times and therefore risk the denial of an I-20. This is why we highly encourage students to start this process early for a successful I-20 and F1 visa application. Of course, you're always welcome to contact us with any questions you have. As mentioned in the video and on the slide, our email is visas@summer.harvard.edu. And this QR code will take you to our international student webpage for more detailed information, including a step-by-step process. And now I'll hand it back over to my colleague, Sean.
All right, so now we are going to go into the big piece of today's webinar, which is walking you through our course search system and showing you how to register for a sample course. So I'm going to take you through a lot of different functions in the course search system. That includes the basic and the advanced search, the degree and the certificate search, show you how to add courses to your cart, which is actually something you can start doing today once you've completed pre-registration, show you how to complete registration. Course changes is something we won't go too in depth with today, but I will just do a quick mention of how you'll access that if you need to make any throughout the cycle. And then I'll just point out at the very end where you can go to find any help with technical issues that you might run into. So I'm going to get ready to share my screen with you and walk you through the course registration process. Hopefully this will be something that's helpful for you to come back to when you view the recording as you start to do this yourself on March 4th. All right, so hopefully everyone can see my screen okay. So I am right now on the course search website. So what you'll want to do is go to courses.dce.harvard.edu. That is going to be the website. It's going to bring you right here to our course search system. The first feature you're going to see on this page is what's called our basic search. So this is where you can search by keyword, you can search by subject name. If you happen to know the instructor's name, you can search by their name as well. And that will bring up a whole list of different things that you can see that are available. So for example, if I just search for a biology course, I could see all the different biology options that are available this summer. The default term on the search is always going to be summer 2024, so you never have to worry about toggling this. It will default to the correct term. Something I do want to point out is the type of student. You'll want to make sure that you're selecting the correct option here. So hopefully everyone in the webinar right now is an adult extension or visiting college student. So you'll want to select the adult extension visiting college student option. If we have any undergraduate students from Harvard College attending, you would want to select the Harvard College option. And if any high school students happen to come across this webinar recording, if you have been formally admitted into the pre-college program, you'll want to select pre-college from the list. If you've been formally accepted into secondary school program, you'll select secondary school program from this list. That will ensure that you're viewing the correct course catalog based on your student type. You can also search by part of term. You can search the full term, which is the 7 weeks. You can search by 3-week session 1, which is the first half of the summer term. You can search by 3-week 2, which is the second half of the summer term. Or you can search by 4-week session, which will be the final 4 weeks of the summer term, so late July into August. There's also some additional filters here. If you expand this out, you can search even further by subject. So there's a lot of different subjects here, all in alphabetical order. You can search by participation option. If you prefer to be online, we have synchronous and asynchronous options to filter on. Or if you want to be on campus this summer, you can filter on on-campus courses only. You can also search by section status. You can see courses that are open, waitlisted, and full, only open or waitlisted. And you can search by credit status. You can take courses for undergraduate, graduate, or non-credit. Some courses will offer all 3 options. Some will only offer 1. So for example, if you see a course that's only offered for undergraduate credit, there's going to be no way to take it for graduate or non-credit. And you'll see an example of that when I run through the registration momentarily. You can also browse by degree, certificate, or pre-medical program. So if you are part of our extension school, this is a great option for you to utilize. For example, if I wanted to search by graduate degrees, I could select my degree of interest. So for example, biology. And I could also use this to see all the courses that will count towards admissions that are being offered this summer. Or if I just wanted to take start with a degree course, I could also see all the degree courses that are happening this summer and exactly what category they will count towards. So this is a really great tool just to make sure you're selecting courses that apply directly to your degree or your certificate or pre-medical program if you're pursuing that option. You can also view your cart here. I'm going to talk about carts in a minute, but this is where you're going to save all of the courses to that you're interested in registering for. That way, when registration starts, you can just go straight to your cart and start getting your registration finalized. And then we also have My DCE and payment links here. So if you want to quickly get to the My DCE student portal, you can. And if you want to quickly view your balance and make a payment, you can do so from here as well. The other option would be just to log into My DCE directly, but we wanted to have these quick links here just to make it a little bit easier for you to navigate around. So I'm going to take you through an example of registering for one of our more general courses, which is Expo 15. So in order to do this, the first thing you're going to want to do is add the course to your cart, which is again something that you can actually start doing today if you'd like to. So I would just search Expo 15 up here. I'd make sure that all of my other filters were correct. So it's for the summer term. I'm an adult student, and I'm going to search any part of term just to see what options are out there. So when I search for Expo 15, I can see that there's many different sections offered. So make sure when you see this come up that you're clicking through each of these sections so you can see what time and date options might work best with your schedule. For this example, we will go with section 1. You'll notice that there's a lot of great information here that you'll want to read through before you add the course to your cart. This little snapshot up here at the top gives you a lot of good information about the course. So I can see that the part of term is full term, which means this is a 7-week course. I can see the format is a live attendance web conference course. Whenever you see live attendance, that means you're taking the course live during the scheduled meeting times, and you're meeting with your class over Zoom for each class meeting. For credit status, I can only see undergraduate here. That means this is the only credit status that I can register for this class. Graduate and non-credit are not an option. I can see that there is going to be a maximum enrollment of only 15 seats. So this is going to be a little bit more of a competitive class to get registered for. I can also see there will be a maximum of 8 spots on the wait list once the 15 limit is met. And this course will count for 4 credits. There's also important deadlines here, some registration and payment deadlines, just so you can quickly reference those. The instructor information is here as well. And really important is the meeting information. I can see that this course is meeting every Monday and Wednesday from 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. for those entire 7 weeks. And something to note here that you won't see specifically indicated, all of our course times that are listed here represent the Eastern time zone in the United States. So this is not going to adjust to the time zone that you're currently in. It's always going to reflect the Eastern time zone. You'll get a nice description of the course that you can view, any additional notes that you need to be aware of. A link to the syllabus will be here once it's available. You'll see the tuition listed here as well. And you'll see all the different sections that are available. So if you happen to have selected section 1, but you see that one of these other times works better for you, you can go ahead and just click on that section to view all the information about it pretty quickly. So if in looking through all of this, I see that everything looks great to me, I want to go ahead and add it to my cart. So I'm going to click the Add to Cart button down here. You'll always want to make sure that it's assigned to the default cart, which is your primary cart, because that's what you use for registration. And then you'll click OK. So that course has now been added to my cart. So that is all that you can do up until March 4th. But here's what's going to happen on March 4th. So on March 4th, you're going to come back to your cart. Oh, I do not see my class in there. Let me do that one more time. Okay, so once you go into your cart on March 4th, it's basically going to bring you back to this screen. It's going to ask you to verify your credit status. So you'll do undergraduate credit because that's the only option here. You're also going to see something called the Student Recording Authorization. So this is something that you have to read through. The reason that this is here is because this course specifically is a live attendance web conference course. So there are some different statements that go along with that because the course will be recorded. So if this applies to your course, just read through, make sure you've read and accept the terms, and hit Submit. You'll see that that's now marked as complete, and you can save your changes. All right, so I can now see that this course is officially in my cart, and I can now submit my schedule. And then this is the final step. So you just want to make sure that everything looks good here. You have the right course, you understand the time that it's meeting during. If everything looks good there, you'll hit Submit Registration. If anything is wrong with your schedule, you will see some icons up here that will describe exactly what it is. Sometimes it might be that you forgot to do pre-registration. Other times it might be that you need to submit English proficiency or your English proficiency is still under review. And there may also be times where you can't register for the course because you haven't gotten your test score back for the critical reading and writing test if it's required for your course. So if there are any issues, you will be flagged here and this button will be grayed out. In this case, we don't have any issues, so we can go ahead and submit registration. All right, and then you'll see that once that registration is submitted, the class has been added to your schedule. And if you're ready to view your balance and make a payment, you can quickly do that from here, or you can wait and do it anytime between March 4th and May 13th. If you ever need to view the details of your course, that always is going to live in your cart. And this is also where you'll make any course changes too. So you can always go back here, you can open up the description, you can edit the registration option. So if your course does offer more credit statuses, say you originally chose undergraduate, but you changed your mind and want to switch to graduate, you can edit your registration option and change it to graduate. You can also drop or withdraw from a course here as well. So going back to your cart after registration is where you can do all of these different course changes through here. And finally, I just want to point out, if you run into any issues, or maybe you get flagged with an icon that something is wrong with your registration, you're welcome to go here to our help page. There is so much great information out here for you. A lot of the things that I went through in today's demo were actually broken out here in written instructions. So if you're more of a visual person, hopefully the demo helps. But if you're more of a person who likes to read the instructions, this is going to be a helpful resource for you. All of our registration warnings are described here if you happen to get any conflicts as you try to register. You're also going to see our icon guide. So if you have a little icon on that final screen that's saying that something is wrong with your registration, you can come here and see what it means and like why it's appearing on your screen. So this should give you a good indication of what you need to go back and correct in order to be able to register for your classes. So that is the kind of run through of the course registration and what it's going to look like. Again, you can go ahead and start your pre-registration and adding courses to your cart today at any time. And you can start to actually register for any courses that are in your cart at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on March 4th. And if you have any questions or run into any hurdles when you're adding courses to your cart, when you're completing pre-registration, or on March 4th when you're trying to register for classes, definitely reach out to our team in enrollment services and we can assist you with that. As Jacqueline mentioned, we'll be sharing the contact information with you at the end of today's webinar. So now we're going to transition a little bit to our course website platform, Canvas. So Canvas is where you're going to go to access all the Zoom links for your courses, the course syllabus, any announcements from your professor. It's also where you're going to be submitting a lot of your work, taking exams out of. So it's really your go-to for all things course related. Typically what happens is once you register for courses, about 1 to 2 business days later, you will get an email to set up what's called your Harvard Key, which we talked a little bit about at the beginning of the webinar. But the Harvard Key is going to replace your DCE key as your primary login. The Harvard Key is going to give you access to Canvas, and usually about a week before classes start is when you can expect all of the course websites to be published. So closer to your first day of classes, you'll want to log into Canvas and make sure your classes are there and make sure that all of your content is showing correctly. But just wanted to point out that you can find it on your My DCE page using the Canvas course websites button, which is being circled here on the screen. A lot of the common questions that we get about Canvas are related to access. So just make sure that you've claimed your Harvard Key so that you can access Canvas. And also make sure that if you don't see anything posted until closer to classes, no need to panic there. Typically, a lot of our instructors are working to get their syllabi finished a little bit closer to the summer term so that's 100% accurate. So you should definitely expect to see all of your materials in Canvas 1 week before classes start. All right, something else that you might be interested in after you register for classes is applying for on-campus housing. So we do offer a variety of different housing options for our adult students during the summer term. And housing is always limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis, so we encourage you to apply for housing early if it's of interest to you. So this is the process of how to go about applying for housing if you need it. So the first is to make sure that you register for courses. The second is, just as I mentioned, claiming your Harvard key 1 to 2 business days after registration. Once you've claimed your Harvard key, you should be able to go to the homepage of your MyDCE account and see the housing application listed in the My Tasks section of your MyDCE account. If you see that in there, you'll be able to click on the link to access the Harvard housing application with, and you'll just kind of follow the steps outlined on that application to get everything submitted so that it can be reviewed by our housing team. And then typically charges will post to your account within 2 business days of submitting the request. So just note, especially if you're registering for housing closer to some of those payment deadlines, that there is a slight delay with those charges posting after the application has come through. But the main thing to note here is that the housing application will be opening the same day as registration, but you just won't be able to access it until you've registered for courses and claimed your Harvard key. So make sure that those steps are completed before you start to dive into more of the details of that housing application. There are some deadlines to keep in mind for housing. The first is the course registration deadline for housing eligibility, which is May 8th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. The housing request deadline is at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on May 13th, and the full payment deadline is at 11:59 p.m. on May 13th. So the reason that the deadline falls kind of middle of the day is to make sure that they can post your charges before the full payment deadline passes. So this is something to note. If you happen to register for classes and pay for your classes first, and then decide to apply for housing, you may just want to remember to go back into your finance portal so that you can pay for your housing charges in a timely manner. If you want to learn more about housing, you're welcome to scan the QR codes on your screen. One will bring you to more information about the request process, and the other will provide you with more details about what you can expect in your room on housing. And you're also welcome to email our summer housing team at summerhousing@summer.harvard.edu with any questions as you start to dive into the application process. A few additional items to note before we get ready to close our time together today. Harvard Summer School communicates with students very heavily through email, so we always encourage you to monitor both your inbox and your spam and junk folders. We see, especially with Gmail accounts, some initial emails will go to Harvard to you into your spam and junk folder. So if you see that happening, just make sure to add Harvard Summer School as a safe sender to prevent that from happening for future emails. Also, we've noticed that there are some emails with stricter firewalls. Some examples are email addresses ending in qq.com or 163.com. If you have those email addresses, I would recommend setting up something else, maybe a Gmail account, just to ensure that Harvard Summer School emails are making it to you and not getting blocked by those firewalls. And again, just a reminder that syllabi and Canvas course websites should be available to view at least 1 week before the start of classes at the very latest. These are our tuition rates for the summer term, just so you're aware. A 4-credit course is going to be $3,700, no matter what credit status you're registered for. An 8-credit course is going to be $7,400, no matter what credit status you register for. And there's also different room and meal plan rates based on the length of time you're on campus. So for the 3-week program, that's $2,850. The 4-week program, $3,800. And the 7-week program at $6,650. And again, just a reminder that the payment deadline for both tuition and your housing will be May 13th. When it comes time to pay for your course, you can do this through your MyDCE account. You'll see that you'll have a balance due notification listed at the top of your page in red. If you click on that financial services button that's being highlighted right now, that will take you into our student finance portal where you can pay your balance in full. If you run into any issues with payments, you can reach out to our student financial services team at studentfinance@extension.harvard.edu for further assistance. And finally, before we give you our contact information and sign off for the day, a few frequently asked questions that we get from students that we haven't covered so far in this presentation. So the first one is, do I receive a certificate at the end of my summer term course? The answer to this question is no. We do not provide certificates after a student completes a single course with us. Certificates are not issued unless you're completing one of our undergraduate certificate or graduate certificate programs through Harvard Extension School. But what you can do at the end of the summer term is request a Harvard transcript if you need to send that out to your home institution or any other place that you're looking to transfer your credits to. The second question is, can I take Harvard Summer School courses if my home institution isn't Harvard University? The answer to that question is yes. Harvard Summer School is the primary summer school for Harvard undergraduate students, but it's also available to students from around the world. So no matter where you're studying at, you're definitely welcome to come and take courses here with us, especially since we operate on an open enrollment model for those courses. Next is, are there any exemptions in place when it comes to the English proficiency requirements? The answer to that is no. So if you do indicate a native language that's not English, we are going to require that you submit your documentation to our enrollment requirements team so that they can process it. Even if you've lived in the United States for a really long time, or maybe you've been speaking English for a really long time, you're still going to be prompted to submit those documents for review if your native language isn't English. So there isn't a workaround or any exemptions in place for that. And finally, because our 4-week session is brand new this summer, we've gotten this question a lot. Does Harvard Summer School issue I-20s for the 4-week session? As Lauren mentioned earlier, the answer to this is no. Because the 4-week session is brand new, it's just being offered for our domestic students only this year. But we will be issuing I-20 certificates for the 7-week and the 3-week sessions. The 4-week is the only one that we will not be for summer 2024. And finally, just a reminder again of our registration dates. Registration will begin at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on March 4th. The full payment deadline is May 13th for every summer session. And the course registration deadline for every summer session is June 20th. I also want to make a plug for those interested in Harvard Extension School. We are going to be hosting a webinar on Tuesday, March 5th. That's really going to dive a lot deeper into our Earn Your Way In admissions process and also talk a little bit about open enrollment as well. If you'd like to register for this webinar, we encourage you to do so. You can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or you can grab the link that was just posted in the chat, and that will take you to the registration page for this webinar. And you can also reach out to the Extension School at inquiry@extension.harvard.edu if you have any questions about this event. And as promised, this is our contact information for enrollment services. You can reach out to us via email at inquiry@summer.harvard.edu. We try to turn around our email responses within about 2 to 3 business days, so you're not waiting too long for a response. You can reach us over the phone at 617-495-4024, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you happen to be local or just visiting the area, we have in-person walk-in hours that are available with no appointment required, Monday through Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our office at 51 Brattle Street in Harvard Square. So with that, I want to thank all of you for spending some time with myself and my colleagues to learn more about everything that you need to know to best prepare for summer registration. We are always available to you if you have questions, so definitely don't hesitate to reach out. And again, the summer cycle for registration is pretty long, so there's a lot of time to get things done. But I would say the sooner that you can start working on registration and any of the enrollment requirements that we discussed today, it's going to make your experience so much smoother and make sure that you get everything done on time, especially if you are living abroad right now and will need to go through the I-20 request process so that you can be here this summer. So definitely don't delay. Take all the information that you've learned today and start to kind of craft your schedule and your plan for registration. And we hope to see you here at Harvard Summer School, either on campus or online in the next few months.